top name quarterback not to get granted a TRO.
I think that's right. Everybody else got their TRO, except, I guess, Pavia's thing got slapped down. But if they would have done Pavia, that would have been the most egregious thing ever.
Yeah. But you just, I mean, as you like to say, it's the most Tennessee thing ever. I guess if Joey played in any other state, he could have got it another year.
No question. If Joey would have played, hey, Brian, if Joey would have played in Mississippi, he'd be eligible right now. I think that's right, Don. I think that's a fair read by you on this thing.
And, you know, if things don't work out down there in Jacksonville,
yep.
Since there are no rules, obviously, he might as well just come on back to Tennessee and play next year, regardless.
Why not?
Of what the judge
bring him back bring him back in the summer. Bring him back on a track scholarship, like this kid from UCLA is going to do. Transfer somewhere on a track scholarship.
Yeah, this Sorsby thing is just, you know, look what they done to Pete Rose for that.
Exactly. And ironically enough, same city. Ironically enough, Bino talked about the Alabama gambling thing. Same city. I'm starting to wonder about this Eric Waddell character, Bino. He might be the mole. This guy might be the mole in the whole deal.
As far as the baseball thing right now, my biggest sorrow is look at our record against the teams that are going to Omaha.
Crazy.
Did we not take 2 out of 3 from Texas, 2 out of 3 from A&M? Well, A&M's
crazy
going,
sport.
But,
it's a crazy.
Did we sweep Ole Miss?
Hang right there, Don. I'm going to finish Don up on our overdrive. Playbook William Patterson on the way next. I want to thank the radio listener for being here with us. I love you. It's been incredible. Every day is a lovely day to spend the day with you. Peace.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Hey, Brian, is that...
And here we go, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio with Brett Hullander, Garrett Armbrust, Caleb DeBus, Josh Lovett, and Connor Whitney. I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Monday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And boy, do we have a lot to cover today, as a bombshell story has come out of the college football ranks. We'll discuss Brendan Sorsby being ruled eligible for the 2026 season via an injunction, something similar to what Joey Aguilar went after when he was trying to get an extra season of eligibility. However, he was denied. We'll also compare how Aguilar and Sorsby should be viewed a little bit differently after this decision today. But we're going to focus on that in hour number 1, as that's the big storyline in college football and really sports in general today. But then in hour number 2, we'll recap what went down on Rocky Top this weekend, a big recruiting weekend, as you know, because we talked about David Gabriel Georges all Friday afternoon, and there is some significant momentum there for the Volunteers. I'll detail what went down this weekend and also how I feel about the 5-star in-state prospect, in addition to the 3 commitments you landed this weekend as well. And then we'll also flip over to the Diamond. Tennessee baseball landed a transfer portal acquisition of themselves, and also a couple of more key contributors from the 2026 roster back in 2027. We'll discuss those names and also get you ready for Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight between the Knicks and the Spurs. New York with a 2-0 advantage. I said last week that I don't think there's any way New York loses Game 3, the first game inside Madison Square Garden in terms of a finals game since 1999. You figure that place is going to be jumping tonight. We'll dive into the keys to the game and what to watch for tonight's contest, and we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. but plenty to cover on a Monday. So happy you're here. If you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content this time of year. And before we get into the rest of the show, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Garrett. Garrett, how are you on this Monday?
Yeah, doing good, man. Good weekend of sports. Watched a lot of baseball this weekend, a lot of good college baseball. One more game today. Got a little rain out last night in the Kansas-Oklahoma game, so going to resume that one today, although the game is 8-1, so I think it's pretty much over. But I like the assortment of teams going to Omaha this year. You got kind of a mixture of Troy, the mid-major. You got the blue blood in Texas who's been to 40-plus trips to Omaha, and then you got the teams like Georgia that I think have a real chance to win it all. So it should be a good weekend in Omaha, or a good week at Omaha next couple of weeks. So looking forward to that. And then obviously NBA Finals tonight. Woke up yesterday. I thought the finals was on last night, and I woke up. I was like, "Oh, this is great. Good day of college baseball." Lead into the finals, and I was like, "Oh wait, nope, they don't have it tonight." So felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity. Nothing on in sports last night. Not really sure why they didn't play it, but Monday Night Finals tonight, Game 3 in the Garden. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. Pretty hyped for the game this evening, so looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as I drove into work this morning. I felt like Sunday would have been a great opportunity to have an NBA Finals game. But on the same token, I'm trying to think of the NBA's perspective here. Would you rather put it on a Monday when no one really has anything going on, or a Sunday where people might have some Sunday plans or something like that? So I feel like that's the thought process.
I think Sunday, though, you could go earlier. You could go like 7 p.m. tip.
Sure.
I feel like, the 8:30 tip on the East Coast, I think a lot of people that have work the next morning miss the second half. Obviously, if you're a hardcore NBA fan, you're going to watch the whole game, or if you're a fan of the Knicks or the Spurs. But I think a lot of the casual fans that live on the East Coast probably go to bed at halftime.
Yeah, most definitely. But
there was an award show on last night, too.
What was it?
The Tony Awards.
The Tony Awards.
Yeah.
Vitello?
And I wonder if they're having to prep for this president tonight, too, give him an extra day.
That is
to
true.
Prepare for this chaos that's going to happen tonight.
I did see that where it's going to be like a TSA-style walk-in to the game tonight. So, I mean, I wouldn't try anything funny.
Is he going to be down there with Chalamet and Stiller and those guys?
Chalamet's a poser.
Maybe Scattaboo if he got those $500 tickets.
Yeah,
he was looking for that yesterday.
Might bring Jackson Dart with him. Jackson Dart and him have been in the news recently.
Yeah, they have.
Well, Brett, to you, how are you? How was the weekend?
You guys are striped up over there. It looks good on camera.
Yeah.
I forgot my stripes. No, doing good. Most of the weekends I'm traveling, so it was nice to kind of be at home. Like I said, played golf Friday. It went pretty well.
How'd you play?
81. I shot 81, so I was happy with that. So
how many clubs thrown?
No club throws.
There you go.
Frustration, yes, but no clubs being thrown. I was at one of the more you throw a club out there, you're probably never coming back, so it's one of those clubs. But it was a good weekend, and we got a full house back here behind us, so it's you guys are got an audience, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but happy to have a new face over here and show them the ropes.
Well, when I did the intro, we listed 6 names on the show today.
Yeah.
You might be saying, or actually, hold on, 4, 6, 6 names on the show. We got a lot of guys trying to learn on the production side, so I've got a little bit of a crowd today. We got a live audience, but we also appreciate you watching at home. Jonesy on the YouTube chat says, "I watched the Tony Awards. LOL. What is the Tony Awards?
It's like Broadway.
Broadway?
Musicals.
Oh, music stuff? Okay.
Yeah, so not saying, it's maybe part of the reason, but I don't know. Give them an extra day, so the Spurs need it, though.
And then Buck says, I watched the IndyCar racing and a reality show before watching 1 second of the NBA. Well, that's right on par for Buck, right? Caleb, to you, how are you on this Monday?
Feeling good. I had a busy weekend this week. Wasn't really happy with the outcome of the NBA Finals game. Wemby made me very upset for that. But it's just how it goes. I think that series is basically over at this point. It's a tall task to ask them to win for the next 5. So, overall doing good. Busy weekend and got a full house back here. We got guys to my left and to my right. So ready to get rolling.
Good stuff. Well, I went to the ATL on Saturday. Went to the Braves-Pirates game. Braves got the win.
How was that?
It was fun. Austin Riley played well. I'm not saying I know a lot of MLB, but you kind of pick up on a couple of names. I know Riley. But went out after, and we were hanging out with a crew, and I might not go into the explicit details, but like I was talking to this said person, and all of a sudden this guy comes up behind her and puts his arm around her, and it's Kyle Hamilton, the all-pro safety for the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm a little outmatched there.
I'll see myself out.
But he was really cool. He was hanging, because he went to Marist in Atlanta, Marist High School, and was friends with a lot of the friends of friends. But he was a cool guy. So that was, I guess, my cool moment of the weekend.
That is cool.
Kyle Hamilton and I were hanging out.
Where'd you find yourself at after the game?
Well, so my friend Clark took me, and he's a member of some, social club thing in Atlanta. So they had, free tickets to the game. There was a place we went to before in the Battery, and then after the game, they still had an open tab there. So we went there, and then we had a little bit of a reset around 8:00. I got tired, man. I haven't sat. It was like 87 degrees, and you're sitting out in the outfield. It's a little hot. So I had a little bit of a reset, got some good burrito tacos, and we were ready to go again. And we went out a couple of places, but Atlanta's busy, man. They got a lot going on there. But
no Magic City, Will?
No Magic City for me. No. I keep things professional. I'm not going there.
The one lemon pepper wings.
Well, some people might go for that. Those
wings in Atlanta.
Those places are kind of a little too dingy for me. Just I don't know. You walk out smelling like you smell bad. You smell bad walking out of those places. Anyway, all right, let's get on topic. Our first things first topic today is Brendan Sorsby. And Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby was granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA on Monday in a Lubbock County court. According to court documents, the court ruling allows him to play the 2026 regular season and the entire season for the Red Raiders. It is a bombshell in college football and sports across the country right now. Everyone reacting to this. And according to the injunction issued by Judge Ken Curry, who I believe is a Texas Tech graduate, Sorsby will be suspended for the first 2 games. Oh, no. Suspended for the first 2 games. Who do they play, Garrett?
Abilene Christian and Oregon State.
Oh, no.
It's at Oregon State, though.
Oh,
Oregon State won 2 games last year, bro.
I'm being silly.
No. What will they ever
terrible.
do without Brendan Sorsby against Oregon State? And the game they bring him back for? A top 25 matchup in Lubbock. Most likely will be one between Houston and Texas Tech on a Friday night. So a really stern punishment for Sorsby. And if you have been living under a rock, don't know the details, well, it's pretty ridiculous, the ruling today. And the reason why is what was going down. He had a 35-day stint in an Arizona gambling rehabilitation center after it came out that he was gambling on his own team in Indiana, in addition to gambling on about everything from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest to a roulette-style ball strike method at Reds games. It was ridiculous. But he placed at least 40 bets involving Indiana during his time on the Hoosiers roster. He also used sportsbooks accounts registered to family members and friends to wager roughly $90,000 over 4 years. And he continued to gamble after transferring from Cincinnati to Texas Tech in December, where Sorsby was reportedly making $5 million in NIL to avoid going to the NFL draft and staying in college. Look, he is a fantastic player. There was some talks at a time where Tennessee was interested in him out of the portal. But when this news came out about 6-7 weeks ago, you didn't think Sorsby would play college football again. I didn't. And I know people that are firm in the industry that didn't believe it. And the reaction today is very raw. How the hell is he playing? How is he granted an injunction? Because at the end of the day, folks, what this is going to allow and what this opens up is there's no punishment for gambling on sports. There's no punishment for gambling on your own team. What's stopping any player in college football now from wagering and placing bets on their own team and possibly dictating the outcomes of games? Because now you can just file an injunction. And, hey, I still want to play. Worst comes to worst, I'll file an injunction in a local court and have a guy that went to the school I play for preside over the case and rule me eligible. What's stopping Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase from deciding to come play for LSU for a week during their bye week in the NFL. Just saying, hey, let's go back to college. Hey, LSU, Alabama this weekend, man, they need us.
Kiffin.
Let's just get an injunction for the week. That's what it's opening up. If they continue to allow these injunctions to happen, obviously it happened to Tennessee. We'll talk more about the Joey Aguilar tie-in in our next segment. But what you're going to allow is basically everything's fair game. Anything can happen if you just get an injunction. So today's news is truly a bombshell, and it is truly ridiculous. I like Brendan Sorsby a lot. I like watching him play. I think it was tough for Texas Tech to get that news after getting him in the transfer portal and forming their roster around him. It was really tough. But it's also really bad to be gambling on your own team and to be doing so for 3 to 4 years. Keep in mind, folks, the traditional punishments are from gambling on professional sports, $800 or more. If you are found gambling as a college athlete on professional sports and you have placed wagers over $800, then that is a suspension for at least 6 games. If you're caught gambling on your own team, that has always been a suspension for the rest of the season and loss of eligibility. It happened back in 2021 at Iowa State, and a couple of Iowa players were involved in it as well. 5 players were suspended and stripped of eligibility, never played again, because that was the standard. There was no injunction. There was no Iowa State judge that then granted him the eligibility to continue playing. It's the rules. If you break the rules in life, there are consequences. If I go wreck my car after I leave the show today and drive off, I'm probably going to be liable for something. I made a mistake. I am going to be held accountable for it. It's not like it just goes away. If you make a mistake, you are held accountable for it. And these injunctions are now allowing anything and everything to happen. I like Brendan Sorsby. He's a great player. I like Texas Tech. They've got a really good team. I think it's better for college football to have a good football team like Texas Tech. But this type of stuff can't happen, because if you continue to allow this, what's stopping us from getting even more extreme? Alvin Kamara, he was on campus this weekend. Hey, Alvin, you want to come play against Georgia Tech? We need you. Just get an injunction. Might as well. That's what you're going to start allowing. The more extreme we get, the longer this thing is going to go on. Garrett, your takeaways from Brendan Sorsby being allowed to play in 2026 by the way of an injunction?
The only word really that comes to mind is it's sickening. This is, in my mind, today is the day that the NCAA basically died on having any power over athletes, right? This was, you said this in 2021. This was a situation that happened at Iowa State, and Hunter Dekkers was their quarterback there. Hunter Dekkers had a potential NFL future in his hands. He ended up finishing his collegiate career at Iowa Western Community College, and now plays in the UFL. Brendan Sorsby now will play 10 of the 12 regular season games this season. Texas Tech will probably make the playoffs, and he will be a college football playoff quarterback after betting on his own team his freshman year of college in Indiana. And he didn't just bet on his team. He bet on his quarterbacks. I believe it was under passing yards and a half. I mean, he was betting on legitimate things that could be fixed within the game. And this is getting to a point where you're getting to see betting is taking over sports, right? The betting market is everywhere. You watch an NBA game, an NFL game, they got live odds on the screen. They got FanDuel commercials. I like to sports bet. I think it makes watching games more fun. I like to bet on college football and college baseball because I know those sports well, and I think I can make money off those games. The fact that someone that is putting their hardworking American currency on a game might lose a bet because a player is fixing the game is ridiculous. And the fact that a player is not punished for that is even more ridiculous. And as you said, we're at the point now where the NCAA holds zero power. They're a 4-letter organization that means nothing right now. The NCAA said that he couldn't play. Okay? He goes to a county, Lubbock County court, a judge in West Texas that I believe is an alumni of Texas Tech, and says, no, this is a team that I want to be good this year. I was a Texas Tech alumni. Brendan Sorsby, you're going to play this season. And that's what's going to happen. You saw it with Trinidad Chambliss. ruled ineligible, goes to a local court. He's playing for Ole Miss this season. Obviously, eligibility is a little bit different than illegally gambling on your team, but you're still getting to the point where all you have to do is you just go to a judge that's an alumni of your school and you win it. So it makes no sense how this is allowed.
So the judge, and I think this is John writing it, the judge is a Houston law grad. Now, the original guy they had presiding over it was a Texas Tech alum, and there were pictures online of him with the Red Raiders mascot and partying and all of that. So they changed that guy. So apparently this is as John is writing in, according to one person who tweeted it, he said that he went to Texas as an undergrad, but was still in a Lubbock County courtroom. So he might not have had direct ties.
Yeah, and he earned his law degree from Houston.
Yeah, so he might have earned his law degree from Houston and all of that. But again, we're allowing a county judge to decide, an issue that is going to impact everyone across the country. Like, ultimately, this should have probably been something done in the Supreme Court if we're really being real. The fact that just one little county can dictate something like this is pretty ridiculous. But regardless of where the guy went or all of this stuff, the fact that this is even allowed, though, is still ridiculous. And, do you have anything else to add on it before I swing it to Brett? Or?
Well, no, I mean, I think it's just the fact that you can go to these local judges. The NCAA at this point has no power. All right, they've lost all power. Everything is going to be these preliminary injunctions that you're going to get now, and you've seen it in extra eligibility. It's not even what Brennan Sorsby did that aggravates me right now. What gets underneath my skin is the precedent that it sets. The precedent that's been set is if you gamble on your game, all right, whatever, sorry, you got caught by the NCAA, we'll go to a local judge in whatever the county is, whatever the state is, and the judge is just going to rule in your favor. I don't understand how a judge can sit here. I mean, you're as a judge, you're supposed to uphold the U.S. law. That is your first, goal. You're not upholding the United States law when you're allowing a player to compete in college football games this year after betting on his own team 4 seasons ago. That just should not be allowed.
This is what the injunction stated today. Quote, "This court finds that applicant has demonstrated that he will suffer a probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if this court does not issue this temporary injunction because he will be unable to participate as a member of Texas Tech University's 2026 football team. And the NCAA cannot prevent Sorsby from, quote, practicing, playing, or otherwise participating on Texas Tech's football team for the 2026 season as well." So both of those things are included in the court ruling today. The NCAA strongly disagrees. I'll read that quote here in a moment. But Brett, to you, Sorsby locked in a $5 million NIL deal back in January, was one of the top players in the transfer portal, decided to stay in college instead of going to the NFL. This bombshell report comes out of the investigation about 2 months ago, and we've all kind of been on pins and needles as to what is going to happen. And he is actually granted an injunction. I know one prominent reporter that was absolutely floored. And this guy sees everything, absolutely floored. And I think that echoes across the country. What is your reaction to Brennan Sorsby today?
Well, obviously it's terrible, and it's not a good look. This guy, and it, I mean, it's like, does this make Sorsby invincible? Does he just feel like he can now go continue what he's been doing? His crime is, there's no punishment for his crime now. Making yourself suspended for 2 games is not good enough. That's not upholding anything. And the fact that the NCAA said he's ineligible. I mean, they did the right thing. Their laws, you made the comment, and I put out there the severe punishments that anybody bets on their own sport or on their own team or their own sport that's it. They're done. They should be done. And the fact that he can go outside the NCAA and get a simple injunction it's wild. And it's sad to see. And I know how much you and Garrett love the game it's sad to see that this is the situation we're in, where this guy needs a lot of help, and this does not help him. I fear for Sorsby. I honestly, is the person, because because mentally, he should be out of football and paying for his crimes, and he's not. He's getting to. Who's to say he's not going to continue betting the way he was? And it's sad to see, and it's a sad day for college football. And that judge should be facing some criticism too, as well. Not just Sorsby. This makes like the Bediako thing look terrible, minor compared to this, and it's sad to see that any of these guys should have any eligibility moving forward.
We'll talk more about those judges specifically when we discuss Joey Aguilar in the next segment. But this is what the NCAA had to say about the ruling today. Quote, the NCAA strongly disagrees with the court's ruling in Sorsby's case and is deeply concerned about the damaging, far-reaching, and broadly destabilizing ramifications of this outcome, which undermines and corrupts the integrity of sports, the NCAA said in a statement, going on to say, quote, the NCAA is committed to supporting student-athlete mental health, but must continue to aggressively defend against actions that defraud college athletics and threaten competitive integrity, such as betting on one's own sport. And the NCAA recently rejected Sorsby's request for a reinstatement and an appeal, but obviously this was a looming decision in the Lubbock County Court. If he were given an injunction, he would be eligible. That was always in the back of people's minds, but you just figured.
Why even sit the 2 games? Like that's
wow. That's
if they were playing Texas week 1, I guarantee you he'd be suited up. If they were to schedule that Texas game week 1, he wouldn't be sitting out.
Well, also, I mean, let's think about the schedule here. Abilene Christian, Oregon State, Houston. Houston's going to be a top 25 team.
There's a reason why he's coming back for the Big 12 opener.
He's suspended for 2 games, not the top 25 matchup game against the Cougars. Caleb, to you, what do you make of the news today, and how do you feel?
It's an absolute joke. I mean, the college sports, college football specifically, is what I fell in love with when I was a kid. It was the first thing I ever really liked, and it's to see them just absolutely just turn it into a joke. It's a clown show at this point. I mean, they're basically setting a precedent. You can do whatever you want. And then it doesn't matter what the NCAA rules. You can go get an injunction from your local judge, and then you can basically do whatever you want. I mean, we've already heard breakaway conversations coming out of spring meetings and stuff these past few weeks from the Big Ten, the SEC, more so the SEC, and it's looking more imminent now with just bombshell after bombshell of these lawsuits. He mentioned Bediako. You got former G League players, you got former, like the kid at SMU, you got former MLB professional players that are coming back. Like, I know he didn't play football, but still, like, it's just it's turning into a joke. It's not college football anymore. It's semi-pro football at this point, and it sucks to see that this is that's what they're turning this into. It's the best sport in the world, and they're ruining it. I mean, you're letting the wrong people get their hands on it, and then you take somebody like the NCAA, they just don't have any teeth anymore. It's the Wild West. I mean, there's no rules. There's no guidelines. There's no guardrails or anything. We're just going straight off the cliff. Like it sucks to see, and I wish somebody smarter than me could come up with a way to mitigate all this stuff. But I don't even know where you would start with all this. I don't even know. I'm not smart enough with the law and how all these injunctions and stuff work. I don't really understand what would mitigate or help reduce these guys just filing lawsuits and not having to adhere to the NCAA's rules. But it's a sad thing, and it's not just today. This is another straw on the camel's back, and I'm just waiting for the one that breaks it.
Well, here's the deal. If you want this to be changed, the NCAA is going to have to pony up and agree to have some sort of a commissioner or a governing body over college football. Because look, at this point, folks, college football is one of the biggest sports in our country, and it has always been that, but it has recently taken a next step with the implementation of NIL and TV deals continuing to grow. College football is one of the fastest growing sports in our country right now because of all the storylines that come with it, because of all the drama. That it creates an incentive to continue to follow it, right? Off seasons aren't the same anymore. You know what? Usually, back in the 2000s and really early 2010s, your team was not in a bowl game. You'll start talking about them in the spring game. Now you got the transfer portal. Now you got stuff like this. You've got stuff going on year round. And for me, I love it. I love that college football continues to grow. And I love that there's always something going on. But there's also the negatives to this. And it's stories like this. It's stories like Brendan Sorsby, a guy that was gambling on his own team at Indiana. Own team. I mean, this is a guy that was in those meetings, preparing for games, knowing what was going to happen, knowing what was going to go on. How easy is it for Brendan Sorsby to go tell, that Indiana quarterback on that lousy 4-8 Hoosiers team back in 2021, 2022, whatever, which one it was. How easy for it is him to say, hey, man, you got like 10 yards left. Just hand it off a couple of times. Let's just get out of here. How easy is it if you're in the game or a part of the sideline to butcher these things and fix these games? And that then creates a totally different dynamic for people like myself that bet on these games every week. I do my best bets for college football. If I'm putting my USD towards that and I've got people that are fixing games to prevent something from happening, that's an issue as well. And for these gambling companies that make a ton of money off this stuff and spend a ton of money on advertising, that's an issue for them as well. Because now you're going to have some people that say, I don't want to bet on that. I don't even know what's going on. You're losing the integrity of the sport. Sportsmanship. One of the things you first know when you're growing up and playing games. Sportsmanship. Integrity of the game. At the end of the day, that's what sports in general are at its core. Competitors, people that want to win, you're going out and giving your best shot. Not, hey, let's divvy down those first downs. Let's quit throwing the ball. Let's start running it because I got an under on our quarterback and he's at 227 yards. I've got his under at 237. He doesn't need to throw it anymore. That's when we create a problem. But on the other side of this, Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar, he was denied the opportunity to play an extra year of college football this upcoming season. You remember that back in February. When we come back, I'll tie it into how it's now kind of ridiculous that Sorsby can do something like this and we can't get a fourth-year Division I FBS football from Joey Aguilar. We'll break it down. We return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
The voluntary reaction.
Can't get enough Tennessee basketball? Join Fan Run Radio as soon as every UT game is over for Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all. The Voluntary Reaction will be taking your calls on the Vols as soon as every game is over. So tune in and buckle up as we drink from the keg of glory all the way to the Final Four.
The Voluntary Reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Monday from Knoxville, Tennessee. What a day, as Brendan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback who gambled on his own team at Indiana, has been ruled eligible by way of an injunction. We continue to break that down, and we also appreciate you listening along with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. I want to tie this in now into Joey Aguilar's side of things, because the Brendan Sorsby news comes out, and the first thing I think about is, well, we just did this a couple of months ago with Joey Aguilar. Now, I get it. A lot of people had differing opinions on Joey Aguilar, whether he should have been given an extra year of eligibility or not. That's up to you. You can decide. I morally and ethically agreed with the decision to deny him. He's been playing for 7 years. I get it. But technically, Diego Pavia had the opportunity to play 4 full seasons of Division I FBS football. Joey Aguilar, in turn, I felt like should have had that same opportunity. He played 2 years at Appalachian State, 1 year at Tennessee. 1 extra year would have been 4 years of Division I FBS football. So I could have seen why he could have been granted another year. But he was denied that opportunity. And his case was a lot less extreme compared to Brendan Sorsby. And, if you remember, Aguilar played 2 seasons at Diablo Valley Community College in California, 2 more at App State, joined the Vols. He had a total of, 5 to 6 years played, a little bit of a technical thing due to COVID years, regardless. But he was denied that opportunity in a Knoxville County court. There are a lot of people that are mad at Judge Haggerty for that decision. But I think what that decision showed is that you can still uphold the integrity of the game and uphold the standards of law, even if a court case is done in your backyard, right? You might not have agreed with the decision. You might be mad about Judge Haggerty, but morally and ethically, you agreed with it most likely. Because allowing guys to continue to play, you just keep on going down a windy road, right? But for Brendan Sorsby, a guy that broke multiple NCAA rules, not only did he gamble well over the $800 that is usually the standard for pro sports. You're not supposed to go over $800. You're not supposed to gamble, period. But if you're found doing over $800, that becomes a little bit more of a serious situation. The guy gambled $90,000. You're not supposed to gamble on your own team, period. He gambled and bet on his own team at Indiana. So that extreme of a case is somehow a bigger deal than playing college football at Diablo Valley Community College. If you do that, you can't play. But hey, if you start throwing wagers on your boys and start throwing $90,000 worth of bets on Reds games and Nathan's hot dog eating contest, all that, hey man, you're good. Get out there and play. We'll suspend you for Abilene Christian and Oregon State. But you're still going to play this year. And I feel bad for Joey, because Joey had as much of a case as Diego Pavia did. Diego Pavia got an extra year. Joey was denied in a Knox County court. That was the ruling. It is what it is. But he didn't figure that a Brendan Sorsby would get the opportunity to play. And now that he gets the opportunity to do it, and Trinidad Chambliss gets the opportunity to do it, and all these other cats are playing this year, you're like, how does Joey not get it? Now, his lawyer team is terrible. If you watch the court filings and court process, you would agree with that. But I feel bad for a guy like Joey Aguilar here, who had a legitimate case. It might not have been ethically right, but a legitimate case of playing 4 full years. And then a Brendan Sorsby can break every rule in the book and still get an opportunity to play. I think it's unfair. Aguilar denied, Sorsby revived is the way I look at it. Garrett, to you, tying in Joey Aguilar to this, do you believe like if Sorsby's able to play? I mean, hell, Aguilar didn't gamble on his own team. He didn't even play 4 full years of Division I FBS football. You feel like that would have been enough to play, right?
Yeah, the Aguilar one's tough for me because I love Tennessee, through and through, Tennessee fan, go to school here, grown up a Tennessee fan my whole life. Tennessee football in the fall is, that's the ultimate fanhood that I have. But at the same time, I love college football, and college football is my favorite sport. I'm one of those people on a Saturday that watches 8 games at once. I love it. I love college football. I don't care if I'm watching a Tuesday night MAC game or the ABC game of the week. I just love watching college football. It's one of the things in life that I get the most enjoyment from. And I think that the way that college football is heading right now is a dangerous path. And once the games get played on the field and your team is in a 3rd and 10 with the game tied in the 4th quarter, you're not thinking about NIL and the transfer portal and all that. You're thinking about the game, obviously. But during the offseason, all these headlines, they're just disruptive, and they're you don't want to see them. And this is another one of those that's tough pill to swallow. And the Aguilar news was, as a Tennessee fan, obviously, I would love to have Joey Aguilar back. I would trust a 25-year-old quarterback with our schedule this season much more than a 18, 19-year-old freshman that's never played SEC football. 100,000%. But at the same time, Aguilar had played college football since 2019. I understand that not all of that was under the NCAA. He played junior college football, and then he played at App State, and then he came to Tennessee. But I'm kind of in the theory of looking at college football of the whole, circle of everything. I don't want 25-year-olds playing college football. Is Trinidad Chambliss one hell of a story that he played at Ferris State, was a D2 transfer, was the 75th ranked quarterback in the transfer portal, goes to Ole Miss. Austin Simmons gets benched and injured, and then here you come, and he has one of the greatest Sugar Bowl performances you've ever seen. He's running around the backfield. They beat Georgia. Like, of course I like to see that, but it's a guy that should have been in the NFL draft this season. It's not a guy that should be coming back to play college football, and stuff like that just kind of – it rubs me the wrong way. I think college football 15 years ago, where you played 4 years and you did your time and you went to the NFL or you got on with your life, is the way that it should be. And it creates a lot more stories in the offseason with the transfer portal and all this stuff and these court rulings. And yes, you get good content out of it. It gives you stuff to talk about all the time, but it's not college football anymore. It's semi-professional sports that are under college athletics departments. And it's still the number 1 sport in the world. I still love it, but stuff like this it makes me sad that stuff like this happens. And obviously in typical Tennessee fashion, you probably get the one judge that decides that he's not able to play. But at the same time, I think the judge setting the precedent that the United States law is more important than a football game, I can respect that. And as you said, Joey's lawyers and team around him definitely didn't do a great job of helping him within that case. But I just think the way that college football is headed right now, it's a slippery slope, no doubt.
Brett, to you, where do you stand with, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, you think the simple fact that his name's Joey Aguilar and not Brendan Sorsby or Trinidad Chambliss or one of the stars of college football on a national championship contender, could that be the simple reason that Joey's not playing? And I mean, and I guess I'll answer the question first and I'll present that to y'all. But I mean, I was all for what our judge did. I mean, his job is to uphold the law. And as we said during the time, like, this is a fireable offense if you're a judge.
Yeah.
The one in Alabama is in trouble. They went to another judge. He upheld the law. And it doesn't matter what courtroom you're in. You put your hand on that Bible and you made an oath to uphold the law, no matter what it is. And this guy should be fired for his job. You're allowing an addict to possibly continue down a dangerous path for himself because you're saying it's all right that you gambled and you've probably cost your parents money, like because you were doing this before NIL came about. Like, where were you getting these funds to do all this betting? So it's wrong on so many levels. But I just wonder if Judge Haggerty had Peyton Manning sitting in front of him or an All-American that, say it's a big time running. I don't know. I don't care who it is. I just think for the simple fact it's Joey Aguilar and not Trinidad Chambliss, and these judges, and I shouldn't say that. I applaud Judge Haggerty for what he did. So I ask you, could that be a reason that Sorsby's playing today, that Chambliss is playing today, even though they shouldn't be playing? That's the only thing I can think of in this situation.
No, and look, I don't disagree. I think, again, your opinion of Aguilar's case can be whatever.
Right.
You can believe Haggerty made the right decision. Morally and ethically, I do. On the other side, Diego Pavia had the opportunity to play a fourth season. I feel like Joey
Pavia's
Aguilar,
another one. I just went about the name.
Yeah, and I feel like Joey Aguilar should have had the opportunity to have that same sentiment as well. So I agreed with the ethical decision to deny Aguilar. Obviously, I wanted him to play as a Tennessee fan, but you have to understand that they're in court to uphold the law. When you get pulled over and you're going 90 miles an hour in a 45, you're going to get a ticket and might go to jail.
Not unless you're Georgia.
But if LeBron James does that, they're going to do this. I mean, you would hope they do the same thing, that everyone is held to the same standard of the law. There shouldn't be a difference, right? And you make a good point, but Joey Aguilar was a starting quarterback and led the SEC. Led the SEC in passing. So I think he's a high profile name. Now, Chambliss's argument was more medical related. I put that to the side. For Aguilar, it was similar to Diego Pavia, almost the exact same case. One guy gets it, one doesn't. Which one upheld the law better? That's a question to present. In this case, you've got a guy that, deliberately
admitted it,
multiple NCAA rules and admitted it.
Yes.
And he's allowed to play and is only suspended for 2 games. So again, whatever side you're on about Joey Aguilar is okay. You thought he should be able to play. You thought he didn't. You thought the judge made a mistake. You thought the judge was right. Whatever you believe. But now that you've got Brendan Sorsby having the opportunity to play next season, it makes you question, why was that the case then for a guy that just wanted to play an extra year, had only played 3 years of Division I FBS football? So I don't think the name really had anything to do with it. I just think it was one judge upholding the law and this judge maybe not doing his job correctly.
At all. I think these judges too, it has to do, I don't know how to frame this necessarily, but if Brendan Sorsby they obviously have a better chance of making the college football playoff now than if Will Hammond was their quarterback. And if Texas Tech makes the playoffs, there's a economical benefit to the state of Texas that you get. And I think that judge is probably looking at it that way. He's probably from Texas, a proud Texan, and thinking if Texas Tech makes the playoff, this helps my state's economic, benefits and helps my state do things that we wouldn't have done if he didn't. College football is a multi-million dollar business. And your team playing in the playoffs or the Big 12 championship in Arlington, having your crowd of Texas Tech fans flood into the stadium, that benefits your state as a whole. And I think, I would just think that had to be something that was in his mind when he said that this was okay, because there's in no world should a judge allow this to be. This is like if your buddy robs a bank and you're the judge and you think, oh, he's my buddy, I'll let him off. But if I didn't know him, then he'd be going to prison. That's kind of what this is.
Well, and you got to be like Cody Campbell. He had his, I don't know if you saw his quote from today. It's absolutely ridiculous. But
they're going to have a good
he said
opinion.
This whole situation is the outcome of a broken system. I'm doing everything I can to fix it, while Texas Tech still does the best it can to navigate the chaos. Isn't he supposed to be like the leader of this whole college sports changing and stuff like that? Why can't they say, all right, you just can't play for us? If you're part of this whole wanting to fix college football and you're sitting here probably the one giving the money, possibly under hey, judge, we need this guy, can I give you some tortillas? I don't know. It's just crazy, man. It's just wild. And we're not going to see, it'd be hard pressed to find a case that's going to be much larger than this ever again.
Yeah. It's just ethics at the end of the day, just ethics of it. Is it morally right? Is it the right decision ethically? No, it's not.
That's crazy, man.
Caleb, to you, with the Aguilar tie-in here, Sorsby gets an extra year. Do you feel like Aguilar has been slighted by having more of a reasoning? And, Diego Pavia also got the same type of ruling. Aguilar wasn't breaking NCAA rules for multiple years on end. How do you feel like the Aguilar development ties into this?
Yeah, I feel like just looking at the precedents that the Sorsby case sets, I think that Aguilar should have been granted his eligibility. Do I think from a bird's eye perspective, just as a college football fan, I think Sorsby and Aguilar both should not have been eligible for their respective seasons. But I think if you set this precedence with Sorsby, then absolutely Aguilar has much more of a reason than Sorsby did to play this upcoming college football season. And I think if you get the right judge on the bench for Aguilar's case, I think Aguilar gets that injunction, and I think Aguilar's suiting up for us this season. But I think when your decisions for who your quarterback is comes down to the courtroom and what judge you have sitting up there, I think that's when you have a problem. I think that should never be the case for anything, for any sport. Your roster should not be constructed in a courtroom at all for anything. I think that's an absolute joke, and I just think this whole thing I don't even like that this is even a topic that we have to talk about. Like, yeah. I just like this. We should never be talking about court proceedings when we're talking about college football. Those two things should never cross paths ever. And I think it's a joke that they do. And I think that they're just everything. It's a rough time to be a college football fan. Is basically what I'm trying to get to. And it's sad to see, man. Like like I said earlier, it's the greatest sport in the world, and they're running it into the ground.
Well, when we come back after the break, we'll take a look at your comments. Give us your thoughts during the break. We'll read it off, and we'll
catch up with all things Fan Run
Sorsby
by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation, or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at bonoshouses.com.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, discussing the biggest topic in sports right now. Brendan Sorsby granted an injunction to play for Texas Tech this upcoming season, suspended just 2 games despite gambling on his own team at Indiana and also wagering over $90,000 on multiple different accounts over the last 4 years. He was admitted into a rehabilitation center for 35 days to try to combat this gambling addiction, which is great. Good for him, and I hope it worked. But it is now causing a big stir in the college football community because he is going to play this season despite breaking every rule in the book. Not only just college football, just sports in general. I mean, right now in the NBA, we've got multiple situations like this. Multiple. Terry Rozier, Malik Beasley, one of the best shooters in the league 2 years ago, won't get re-signed right now because he's got a gambling investigation going on. That's affecting him. Hell, he just needs to get an injunction. That's the new word these days. Get an injunction.
Same thing with the MLB pitcher on the Guardians that threw the game. He's not playing professional baseball. And if you do that stuff, you should never be able to play again.
Yeah. You get fired from your job, get an injunction. Girlfriend dumps you, injunction. That's the way to do it these days, folks. I'm looking at the comment section. Jonesy says Johnny Manziel would have done circles around the NCAA in this era. Buck says, can't wait to see the Danny Deep Pocket Spirit book in the entertainment district. Let's see. no inside. What was this? Noise inside the quiet says Sorsby needs to be under a microscope this season. 35 days in rehab and feeling pretty invincible right now with this ruling. Dude is probably betting on a burner phone right now. I did see a couple of tweets out there. Obviously, stuff like this breaks. A lot of people pull out their funny bones. One guy said, what if all of this was just so Sorsby could get better odds on his Heisman odds this year, right? I mean, I'm thinking about it during the break. Texas Tech, most hated team probably in college football history, at least currently, for a specific season going into one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe how Ole Miss fans feel about LSU this year is a close second. But just all time, is there ever going to be, like, if you're outside Texas Tech, is there ever going to be a team that you want to root against more than Texas Tech? I mean, like the Warriors obviously come up for me in the NBA realm, but
I think Michigan after the Stallion
Michigan, yeah,
was up there.
I do hate them. Yeah, I don't know. Be hard pressed. You're the Texas Tech fan, man.
Well, I do like Texas Tech.
You were fighting for the tortillas last year.
I like Texas Tech, and I'm not going to be indifferent towards their team based off a decision that doesn't necessarily affect them. Like the Texas Tech team is not the one that gave him this injunction.
I wish Texas is trying harder to play him now. I just want to see if they would fight for Sorsby to play in week 1.
Yeah, and then no more Abilene Christian. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna happen. As funny as that was, but I mean, that also makes.
You guys thought they were a playoff. Did you think they were a playoff team without Sorsby though? Like their schedule's pretty cake. I mean,
with their schedule, yes.
Will Hammond is okay.
Still a good quarterback.
I'm trying to. So tomorrow I'm doing or maybe even later today I'm going to put out my post Sorsby top 25 because I had my post spring top 25 2 weeks ago.
Where did you have them?
I think Texas Tech I had around 9, 10, or 11.
Top 10. Yeah,
they're still gonna have a defense that's like. I mean, their defense is gonna be the same as last year. They got guys out of the defensive portal that are gonna be better than all the other defenses in the Big 12.
I mean, and last year, all they were, I mean, if you watch that game, all they were was a quarterback short. Like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they had 2 elite edge rushers last year. I mean, David Bailey was a Stanford transfer. I mean, obviously Rodriguez came back and playing linebacker. But, I mean, a lot of their guys up front were guys that they got out of the portal.
Yeah, this was a fringe playoff team without Sorsby, and this is a national title contender with Sorsby at quarterback.
I had Texas Tech at 11.
Okay.
I would now put Texas Tech probably number 5.
Wow. Yeah.
With the addition of Sorsby. Well, I mean, because without Sorsby playing, it would be Will Hammond, but he's not going to be really available till week 3 when they play Houston. And Hammond was good last year.
He's not available to play the games. He's going to be suspended.
Well, no,
Hammond.
They're going to try and get him back, but he wouldn't be 100%. And even knowing that they would play Houston, I don't think they would throw him out there. But now with this situation the way it is currently, I'm sure Hammond will go.
Had their over-under wins changed? Like they were like a couple weeks ago. Now today is it like 11.5 probably?
They were 11.5 when it originally came out. I imagine it dropped to 10.5 without Sorsby.
Gotcha. And probably back up again.
I mean, last week I said I think Houston would have upset Texas Tech in week 3 if Sorsby didn't play. I think
that game in Houston?
That's at Texas Tech. It's going to be on a Friday night. I think Houston's a damn good team. They could even still, I mean, I don't think they'll beat them now. They'll probably be 14.5, 17.5 point underdogs. I do think Houston's a good team.
Do you think this affects Sorsby in his play? Like he's going to have all eyes on it, like the scrutiny, the media, and they were already going to have a lot because they're going to be really good. But like this puts a huge bullseye on this guy's back. Like he throws a pick. Like, he doesn't throw for 300 yards.
That's money for me.
Well, their over-under win total is 10.5, but it has jumped up to a minus 300 odds.
So it'll move up to 11.5 when they readjust. All right, when we come back, hour 2, we'll table the Sorsby conversation. We'll get back to Tennessee football. David Gabriel Georges on campus this past weekend, a 5-star in-state prospect, the number 1 target for Tennessee. I've got some good intel on that, and we'll also recap what else went down. Tennessee landed 3 commitments in football. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Hour number 2 on a Monday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. Garrett Armbrust, Brett Hollander, Caleb DeBusk joining you. We also got Connor Whitney and Josh Lovett popping in and out. They're learning. They're getting the playbook down on the playbook. How about that, folks? A little double trouble there. But in hour 2, we're going to pivot over to Tennessee football in recruiting, a big weekend that we foreshadowed on Friday went down, and Tennessee landed 3 commitments in the 2027 class. And also, there's some new intel on David Gabriel Georges that I'm happy to share. And then a little bit later, we'll talk the Tennessee baseball team. 9 confirmed returners for this 2027 roster, and you added a transfer portal addition, Adam Mercer, a 2-way player. We'll dive into him and also get you ready for the NBA Finals tonight. Game 3 between the Spurs and the Knicks. This possibly could be the most anticipated game of, maybe the last 10 years. And I know it's a 2-0 series lead currently. I get that. But for New York fans, this is something they have waited on for years and years. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And the videos, Garrett, I don't know if you've seen the videos from some of these games or the streets of New York.
Yeah, it's going to be a madhouse. They've shut down some of the streets, I think, outside of the arena. 4th Street, I think it was, I saw earlier. It's going to be insane.
And I know they've, changed the curfew too. They've allowed outdoor parties for these games.
They were going to have the watch parties weren't allowed originally.
Yeah. Man, I've seen some crazy videos. I'm talking, light poles and guys doing illicit drugs on camera right in front of cops. It's all hell breaking loose up there.
I know we're going to talk about the game more, but with that atmosphere, I feel like if the Knicks literally got off to a start where they were up like 10-2, the game would be over.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun tonight. We'll discuss that here in a little bit. Looks like we might have someone on the phone, so I'll wait for a second. If maybe Brett puts them on hold, I can figure out who it is. But we'll talk that Tennessee recruiting weekend here in a moment. David Gabriel Georges, we discussed him a lot on Friday as a big weekend because he was on campus and in town. But Tennessee also landed 3 other commitments in the 2027 class. Not the strongest class at this point in time, but obviously there's still a lot of work left to be done. And this time of year is when you start to see the commitments roll in. Guys are taking these official visits and starting to figure out where they want to go. And Gabriel Georges still has Ole Miss and Georgia left to visit, but good report on Tennessee here in a moment. We got Roberto on the line. We'll go ahead and bring him in here. If Caleb, you can hear me. I know we got a couple of people going on. Just go ahead and tell Brett to put him on. We'll go ahead and roll with him. So, yeah, we can go ahead and put him on. Roberto on the line. What's up, Roberto?
Afternoon, guys. Long time no talking.
Long time no talk. I hope you're doing well as well. Good to see you not too long ago at the –
I know.
We kind of put that week or that game in the past, though, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a weird spot with Tennessee baseball. I'm kind of in a blow it all up kind of mode right now. I guess I'd say I'm surprised that Manny Marin's leaving, and I'm surprised they didn't fight harder for that. He did hit almost 300 this year. He wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. That's the only loss that I'm like, ugh, that one hurts.
Yeah.
And they could have bringing it from Mercer, and hopefully, I don't know if you saw, I always forget his first name, Salatoria from Kent State. He just went to the portal today.
Okay.
The kid who was just absolutely tanking against us.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to the portal. I would be on the phone with him very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because we know he can hit home runs in Lindsey Nelson.
He can. And yeah, that Golden Flashes team had a ton of success against the Vols earlier in the season.
Yeah. So, and he's by far their best player.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I'm glad to see the core of the guys that I think are really, really solid players coming back. I think they spent the money wisely on those guys. I think it's a good core of juniors that we got to keep.
For sure.
We're going to need, and I love the pitching coach that we got. I think he's elite. I think he's one of the high rising young dudes in the country. And getting rid of Reynolds, I don't know if you saw my tweet about it. I've been at the beach all week, so, humble brag. But I was keeping up with it from the beach. And I was like, did we just walk across and be like, hey, thanks for dominating us today. You want a job?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
It seems like it. It seems like sometimes
it's almost like that's when they decided to fire Reynolds, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Reynolds was I think he was sent here to be Frank's replacement eventually, but he can't develop the way Frank did. So you got to get a guy who can develop first and then call pitches second.
Yeah, East Carolina had the 17th best ERA in the country last year. I believe it was a 4.16,
4.16,
4.16,
something like that.
And the last 5 years under his coaching, they've been the top in their conference in ERA 4 out of 5 years. That's an impressive stat. You can't argue with that.
Trey Yesovich, who plays on the Blue Jays now, and then obviously Ethan Nornby, the guy that pitched really good against us. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in the American. Those are two really good pitchers that he's developed during his time. Obviously, he's done more, but those are probably the two most notable ones.
Yeah, I mean, they always have one huge dynamic arm there. And that just shows, I mean, at East Carolina, they've got a lot of competition for those arms and those mid-majors to get at one or two studs on their team, and they have them. So that, we have money. They don't. So maybe it's just, we can get him 2 or 3 stud arms. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So, not a reason for my call. David Gabriel Georges, guys, I know that we're trying to spin positive. I just don't see it. Like, his 5 is so weird with us. And I know for a fact he's told people he doesn't love the vibe inside the Tennessee program. Maybe that changed after this weekend. We brought out all the stops. We freaking brought Alvin Kamara out to talk to the kid.
Yeah, I'll detail the latest on DGG here in a moment. But I
just don't see it happen, guys. I prove me wrong. I would love to see it happen. I would love to, but until Josh Heupel can get a 5-star running back to commit here and come here and be dominant, he's not going to do it. That's just where I'm at. And then, if I may, guys, I want to talk about the Sorsby thing, but in the orange-colored glasses. How in the world is he getting to play college football this year? He admitted to gambling on games his team was playing in. Pete Rose is banned from the damn Baseball Hall of Fame eventually for the same thing.
Yeah. We
How?
We tried to make we tried to make the best we could of it in hour 1, Roberto. And my thing is, just if you ever mess up in life now, just get an injunction. That's the way to wipe anything away.
Oh no, I understand, but how does the only judge in America that gets freaking religion that's in a county within the city where the major university resides, how do we get the only one who gets religion? How?
Yeah.
How? How does that happen? Can Joey file again? I doubt it.
Oh no. Well, Joey's about to get.
I think because he's already signed, right?
Joey's about to get
Jacksonville
cut.
Jaguars.
Joey's about to get cut from the Jaguars, though, so he might have some time.
Hey, what's his futz? The basketball player in Alabama went and played, and Joey never played in the league. He's never taken a snap in the league. Maybe we can just say, hey, look at all this other stuff. Now, what do we have to pay that judge to get a different ruling? That's all I want to know at this point. Like, what are these programs doing? How are they getting it and we're not? Is it because we're Tennessee and we play by the rules and all that? Because we certainly don't. And it's infuriating. And I'm going to leave you with that.
A lot of people feel that same fire and passion towards today's decision. Had a good conversation about it in hour 1. We appreciate Roberto calling in, giving his 2 cents and fire on that. But big day in college athletics, whether it be good or bad for the future of it. But we'll flip over now to Tennessee football and recruiting, as official visits mean that we get the first look at a lot of highly coveted high school recruits in the Tennessee uniforms. And one video going viral this weekend was from none other than David Gabriel Georges, the 5-star running back at a Baylor school in Chattanooga, one of the top players in the state of Tennessee, the number 1 player for that matter in the state of Tennessee. He's originally from Quebec, Canada, so some people don't like when I say he's an in-state product, but regardless, he was on campus, and let's talk about it because he is the number 1 target for Tennessee football in this 2027 class. And the visit this weekend was long prepared by Josh Heupel and company. They wanted to nail it, and I think they did. Alvin Kamara being on campus this weekend was no coincidence. This was done months in advance. They orchestrated and made sure that Kamara could come up and be available to meet with David Gabriel Georges and talk about what it means to be a Tennessee Volunteer. There are numbers of former alumni and VFLs that are doing the same thing. Trey Smith online. You see him quote tweeting at DGG. It's all part of it. And it's a part of one of the biggest recruiting processes in Josh Heupel's history at Tennessee, because everyone realizes how good this player is and how you don't want to see him wind up on an opposing sideline. Ohio State and Tennessee, the two favorites at this point in time. You know that. I know that. He was at Ohio State the week before arriving in Knoxville. They gave him the whole 9 yards, went well. It is what it is. He's still got 2 visits left, Ole Miss and Georgia. Georgia has a 5-star running back recruit already signed, so you feel like that's more of just a feeler for DGG. But Georgia's done a great job developing running backs. You give them the time of day. Ole Miss, another intriguing option. He'll be there this upcoming weekend. But my understanding on David Gabriel Georges is this, and I've tried to hint at it over the last couple of weeks and really over the last month, that I maintain really good and feel really good about David Gabriel Georges and the chances he has to play at Tennessee. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to just where he would rather play. Now, I know you might be saying, well, William, no duh. No duh he's going to choose where he would rather play. But what I mean by that is this. Tennessee has gone all out and will continue to do so. And if he chooses another school, it's not because Tennessee didn't do their part. David Gabriel Georges wants to be the face of a program. He wants to don the number 0. That can happen at Tennessee. He wants to be developed. He wants to hear from alumni and their experience at Tennessee. That's the reason why Alvin Kamara was on campus this weekend. And if it comes down to NIL and money, Tennessee will not be outbid for David Gabriel Georges. I can say that definitively. He will not. Tennessee will not be outbid for David Gabriel Georges. If he goes to Ohio State, it's because he just would rather be a Buckeye. Tennessee has strategically done this over the last couple of weeks. I know there were a lot of people mad about some in-state kids and Knoxville kids committing elsewhere, a Kentucky, a Clemson. That's because Tennessee's not going to waste time on getting in a bidding war for a player that might not play for 2 to 3 seasons and likely will enter the portal. Why get into a bidding war with Clemson and almost double the price just to keep a guy in state and keep a couple of people on Twitter happy? I'd rather have a guy in David Gabriel Georges who runs at 10 yards a carry and is one of the best players in high school football. I've watched 2 high school football games in the last 2 years. Both of them have been because of David Gabriel Georges. I don't watch high school football. I don't have time for that, right? I'll watch David Gabriel Georges. And when you watch those games, he sticks out because he looks like a man amongst boys, and he's been the younger guy. He's been an underclassman in these games. You don't want to go up against him. You don't want to see him on another sideline. He's an in-state kid. He's technically from Quebec, Canada. I get it. But he's a guy in your backyard, an hour and 30 minutes away from Knoxville, an hour and 30 minutes away from Neyland Stadium. That's a guy you can't afford to lose. And Josh Heupel and this staff understands that. This is the most aggressive recruitment they have had maybe ever for a high school player, to my understanding. And I list off the dynamics. NIL, if that's a concern for you, it shouldn't be. Tennessee's not going to get outbid for this kid. They want him bad. And having him on campus this weekend was great. Obviously, everyone's going to hear that it went well. That's the understanding, too. I'm not breaking news telling that. But I still feel confident about David Gabriel Georges, and I think a lot of the buzz is just from what you hear from a passionate fan base at Ohio State. It's neck and neck, and really right now I'd say Tennessee's the favorite. Garrett, to you, how big of a deal is David Gabriel Georges to this 2027 class? And do you echo the same way I feel that right now you have some confidence he'll be a volunteer?
I think it's, pretty 50-50 right now. I'd say I'm more confident after the OV than I was before, obviously. Getting him in the jersey and doing some of the social media stuff that they did, obviously, that we said that the content team would do this weekend. Obviously, that makes the player happy and feel welcomed. Obviously, brought out all the stops. You had Alvin Kamara here, who's one of your most decorated running backs in program history. And then, obviously, meeting with Heupel was big. Obviously, when he's met with Ohio State, he's met with Ryan Day, and the previous times with Tennessee, it's kind of just been the offensive staff mainly that's met with him. So, like you said, this is going to come down to what he wants. You understand that he's not going to get outbid to go to Ohio State. It's just going to come down to what he wants. And obviously, Tennessee fans over the past couple of years have had their heart broken a little bit in recruiting battles, whether that was Carnell Tate going to Ohio State, or that was this past year with the legend Bay. Looking like he was coming to Tennessee on signing day, and obviously ends up going to Ohio State. But I think if you remove all prior feelings of Ohio State beating you in recruiting battles and look at this as just a situation of you versus Ohio State, and you're not looking at anything previous. I think this is an interesting battle. I think another interesting part about this is Brian Hartline is not the offensive coordinator at Ohio State anymore. Obviously, the guy that's developed all the wide receiver talent, and Jeremiah Smith, Marvin Harrison, and engineered that offense. Obviously, has developed more wide receivers than he has running backs, but he's now the coach at South Florida. So I think that was a guy that a lot of players at Ohio State really wanted to play for. And him not being there, I do wonder if that changes the dynamic of Ohio State's recruiting there at all anymore. So I think obviously you're not going to know till his commitment date. You still have over a month away. It's, July 20th, July 22nd, something like that. So a little ways to go, but I mean, I think it's pretty 50-50. I think you got to feel pretty good about this one, because if you get him, you're signaling to him that he's going to be your RB1 freshman year, and he's going to get plenty of carries, and he's going to be your guy until he's ready to go to the NFL. So I think if he wants to start day one, he comes here. If he wants to wait a year, behind Bo Jackson at Ohio State, he goes there. But I think it's going to be his decision at the end of the day of what he wants to do and what's best for him and his future.
Buck is saying, Will, you said that last year, and Tennessee got outbid on multiple players. I'm not getting on your case here, Buck, but I'd love to know those names of guys I said specifically would get outbid for, because I remember in the transfer portal process for basketball, I said that money wasn't an issue for the team, and you were able to land one of the most lucrative teams in college basketball in this portal process. The top spender was Tennessee. So I think I was correct on that. And also I said that Tennessee would not be outbid for Juke Harris, and they weren't. And I feel the same way about David Gabriel Georges here. I don't think money is going to be the deciding factor. If he goes to Ohio State, it's because he wants to be a Buckeye, and good for him. But all the other deciding factors Tennessee has in place, and I think has as good of an argument as Ohio State does everywhere else. So if I was wrong and said Tennessee wouldn't get outbid for a specific player, I'd love to know. But the ones I've said, Juke Harris, that was truthful. Tennessee was not going to have an issue with money in the basketball portal. That ended up being true. Tennessee was the top spending team in college basketball. For David Gabriel Georges, we'll try it a third time. Money's not going to be an issue here, to my understanding. Brett, to you, how big of a deal is David Gabriel Georges, and what did you make of the videos and stuff you saw over the weekend? Alvin Kamara in town, coming down the orange carpet and the dark mode uniforms. What'd you make of that?
I mean, it went about like you expect. You roll the red carpet out for these big-time players. We see it all the time. You weren't worried about us showing them a great time and bringing all of the stops. I mean, all indications are that he exceeded expectations, according to him, reading some of the rivals guys and what their intel they're hearing. So you knew this is the way it'd be. I was never concerned about us showing them a good time. I think it's what we do now. How do we continue to put on more steam? He's still got a couple more visits, although we think it's between us and Ohio State. He's going to continue to visit some pretty big time places. Ole Miss is going to show him what they do with Kejuan Lacey. I think Georgia's out of the mix. I mean, they've already got one of the top running backs committed for next year as well. So, this went about as well as it could. But now it's when it really starts. You got to continue to push and probably the same way you did with David Sanders when you're battling Ohio State. It's going to be a similar down to the wire type thing. But I like where we are right now. I'd love to see what a big time prospect could do in the backfield for Tennessee, or seeing what these 3-star guys can do. You can only imagine what a guy of this caliber would do in a Heupel system. And I mean, it's going to be a battle. Ohio State is as good as anybody. That they've proven they can have 2 stud running backs in the backfield, and they envision that with him and Bo Jackson, the way they did with Judkins and Travion Henderson. So, the pool's going to be hard, but I mean, I do like where we are, but now we got to continue to battle day in and day out to get this guy's signature. So, but you got to like where we are currently. And we'll got to continue to fight. Got to be there every day to get this guy on campus.
Well, while the Vols are still awaiting multiple big-name recruits like David Gabriel Georges, it has landed a trio of commitments over the weekend to boost the group, and that features 4-star in-state tight end Malik Howard. If you were joining us on Friday, I kind of hinted at him as being a possible commitment this weekend, and he got it done on Saturday. He's out of Oak Ridge, so there's the in-state kid there for you, and he's from just down the street in Knoxville. You wish you could have maybe gotten that other Oak Ridge kid back in the day, T. Higgins, at wide receiver. But, again, we'll take Mr. Howard who's a 6'3.5", 240 tight end, like the size and length there. Then you also got a junior college defensive lineman, Christian Mays. He's out of Northeast Mississippi Community College, who has historically done a really good job pumping out some JUCO players to the next level. Then finally on Sunday night, 3-star defensive back Dylan Haley entered into the fold. So 3 commitments for Josh Heupel and company over the weekend. I really like Howard a lot, and also I think Christian Mays provides great depth, and you pair him alongside of Ronnie Gardner, who's done a hell of a job coaching in the trenches. That's a really valuable depth piece that might have started off in the JUCO ranks, but has the opportunity to level up his play. Caleb, to you, I know I didn't hit you for the DGG stuff, but you're welcome to weigh in on that as well. But also talking about the additions, the guys you actually got to commit this weekend in this 2027 class. What do you view, and who do you like out of that group that committed this weekend, and where do you view this 2027 group?
Yeah, I think we're on no bombshells yet. I mean, we got the 4-star, I believe it was a tight end, right?
Yeah.
4-star.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the biggest name that we've gotten out of this weekend. Obviously, we're not going to know anything about David Gabriel Georges until a little bit later next month. But yeah, I think honestly, I feel pretty good about David Gabriel Georges. Like you said, I echo the sentiment. I do not think we're going to get outbid for this kid. I think we have made a shift as far as spending for athletics has gone, and I think that happened after this past basketball season. We kind of saw that with Rick Barnes' budget. His budget was increased. I think he was well into the almost $20 million ranges where he was creeping up on for his roster. So I think he was like 16 to 17 million, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the official number, but he was somewhere around there. His budget well over doubled from the season before. So I think we're definitely leaning into a more money heavy side with some of our athletic things. And I think, like I said, we're not going to get outbid for David Gabriel Georges. I think whatever Ohio State gives him, we're going to match it, if not go higher than him, because this is one of, if not the highest touted recruits in the Josh Heupel era. I think if we're able to land a David Gabriel Georges, I think that is a really, really good sign for the trajectory of our program and going forward. And yeah, I think, like I said, no bombshells, but we got some really, really solid commits this week, and we're just waiting to hear on DGG.
Garrett, anyone out of this group that committed this weekend that you like?
I think the 4-star tight end is a nice pickup. I think tight end group's been a pretty deep, classes that you've had over the past couple of years. Obviously, you're expecting big things out of that group on the position field this year as well. I think it's a good get to get a guy that's close to home, though. You want to keep these guys that are 30, 40 minutes away from you in their backyard and coming to Tennessee. And obviously, after losing Van Dorsalier, tight end for the future you probably needed to pick up another 4-star tight end prospect like that. And so obviously things didn't work out for Van Dorsalier while he was here, had the unfortunate situation at the end of the Oklahoma game. But I think tight end's just a nice position. I think the D lineman, that's the JUCO kid out of Mississippi, that's a nice depth piece, especially that's kind of a position where you see some injuries happen throughout the year. So that could be kind of a plug and play guy that you see, throughout the season a little bit. And then as for the DB, I don't know. I can't get too excited about a 3-star defensive back that you're not going to see on campus for at least another year. It's probably going to be more of a depth piece for right now. You're pretty loaded up in the defensive backfield right now, I think. So none of them are, bombshells, obviously, but I do like Malik Howard. I think he's got a nice size and frame. Keep a kid that's close to home here in the state. I just think that's a good pickup for a tight end class and a group that's always been a pretty consistent contributor on your field in the Heupel era.
Or they call Tennessee 3-star DBU. Is that right?
Might be what they call it. But, we get some young talent and Ty Redmond, and obviously the transfer portal this year suited Tennessee pretty well in the DB room this year. So hopefully, if you have a similar defense to what you've seen in the past, maybe get back to those 2024 defensive back roots with Jermod McCoy and things of that nature. Obviously, you've pumped out talent, so no reason why you can't continue to do it.
I think the big thing for any team in college football now is figuring out, how do you want to recruit these teams? How do you want to build these teams, right? Because ideally, the starting level players you're going to add are out of the transfer portal. And in the high school ranks, you want to be able to still have homegrown talent, guys that you're developing and could potentially turn into a starter. Ty Redmond was thrusted into that spot this year, ended up doing a solid job, going to have higher expectations this year. But all that to say, I think what you're watching from this staff right now is deciphering which guys that you're willing to kind of go all in for and maybe get in a little bit of a recruiting battle for and make sure you land them versus the ones that you feel like you can add valuable depth elsewhere or go get starting level players in the portal more established. Like the trenches, the guys in the trenches on the defensive line, I like adding guys in the portal because you've already seen them, they can play at that level. The Jordan Norman, an example, Xavier Gilliam. I like adding guys like that because you could blow $400,000 on a high school kid. He comes in, he might not be what his projection was. And then you've wasted $400,000 on a guy like that. So I like using the portal to go refine the rest of your roster, get those starting level players. But with DBs and tight ends, offensive players, you want to still be able to use that recruiting at the high school level as an asset. And I think Tennessee's done that at wide receiver as well. TK Keys, Radar Jackson, Travis Smith Jr., Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews. You've done a really good job there. Those are the type of expensive players in the portal that Tennessee hasn't necessarily had to allocate because he had guys already in the boat in the recruiting ranks. So real quick, replying back to Buck, you mentioned Sam Levitt, Legend Bay. Legend Bay, the reason why he was a volunteer is because Tennessee upped the ante. So that is an example. I mean, that would be back in January when I said, I don't have the verbatim what I said, but Legend Bay was at Tennessee because the offer was upped. He just didn't want to go there. The family kind of signed, it was the one that signed off on it. And with Levitt, Tennessee was willing to be competitive in the quarterback market up until Danny White pulled the plug.
Is this guy, is he Nike or Adidas or anything?
Because David Gabriel
Yeah,
Georges?
because, TK Keys, we think Adidas had maybe a big pull in that. I was just wondering, because Ohio State's obviously Nike. Tennessee's moving to Adidas.
Yeah.
Could that guys prefer certain stuff? Could that be a factor in all this? Or do you not see that being much of a factor?
I think Adidas could have a factor in this as
Okay.
well. He's not an officially signed.
Baylor's
Adidas
Nike.
and-
I think
are they
Baylor's
Nike?
Nike.
Okay.
Baylor's
Well, by this graphic I'm looking at it, they look like Nike. So
yeah, Baylor's a Nike school, but that doesn't really carry much weight. Once
now
you get
they
to
did
campus.
say that Ohio State doesn't give guys number 0 as freshmen. We're willing to. Here's number 0. You want number 0? Here it is, because evidently that's a factor in his recruiting.
He wants his stuff.
He wants his stuff.
Not a problem here.
Yeah. But I was just curious if he was associated with anybody. A lot of times these big time recruits are. We saw it in Nate Ament. He was fine with it, but he was Reebok or whatever he
Yeah.
was. But
Jonesy said he thinks Baylor's switching to Adidas. I don't keep up with Baylor like that.
That
but
was why I pulled up something a second ago. It's
Oh, okay.
On3 said that Baylor's Adidas deal or something could be a difference maker.
Interesting.
So-
Okay, cool.
When we come back, we'll pivot over to the Diamond, talk Tennessee baseball recruiting. 9 guys returning from the 2026 roster in 2027 and a portal commit over the weekend. We'll break it down and tell you who when we return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say it loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us. Coming up in 27 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, the Bear, and Walker Smith. They'll round out the rest of your Monday here in K-Town. I'm sure they've got a lot to discuss with all the news that we have talked about already today, but always provide some great insight from 3 to 6. So make sure you stay right here locked in on Fan Run Radio. Jonesy chimes in. Baylor School has been selected as Tennessee's only Patrick Mahomes Gladiator High School for 2026, and they're switching to Adidas. So that's a part of it. And I guess that would also factor in for Tennessee, who's switching to Adidas in July as well. A couple of teams switching brands. I know South Carolina's going to Nike this year, and I believe Penn State's moving to Adidas as well. Maybe not this off. Is that this off season, Garrett? Or
They probably are on the same deal as us. No, I would assume. I don't know. Maybe not.
Auburn's moving to Nike as well.
And well, Auburn did that this past year, so I know Auburn was with the Nike this year. I'm just surprised there are still groups with Under Armour. I mean, Under Armour is kind of a dying breed at this point. Notre Dame is what's keeping that around.
Curry even left Under Armour, didn't he?
Well, Curry signed with Ling Lang, and he's making $1 billion, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
All right.
Yeah, Penn State's moving to Adidas July 1st this year. So that's same date as us, right?
Yeah. All right. Tennessee baseball offseason rolls on. Officially, the portal has been open for about a week now, over a week, and it's given Josh Elander and company some time to fill out that new roster and also retain guys from the 2026 team. And Tennessee might have lost 13 players from last year's roster to the portal, but they are keeping 9 guys, and they've added a portal transfer and a Mercer player we'll talk about here in a moment. But I want to highlight these guys that are returning because they are a big deal. Trent Grinlinger, obviously a great season as a freshman last year, was an All-SEC member. He's back. Cam Appenzeller, a 4.76 ERA, and it's his first year with the Volunteers. New to the list and kind of what developed over the weekend, Levi Clark announced last night that he is back for the 2027 season. He's coming off a sophomore season where he hit .242 with 13 home runs, 13 doubles, and 44 RBIs. Kind of an up-and-down year, adversity-filled, if you will. But good to have Clark back in the mix because he's a strong player and has been a consistent contributor for the Volunteers over the last 2 seasons. Landon Mack, the former Rutgers transfer who joined the team this past season, he's back as a right-handed arm. Stone Lawless, he played 34 games behind the plate for Tennessee, hitting .234 with 7 homers and 19 RBIs. And you've also got Nick Abram, Will Haas, Chandler Day, and Jackson Estes in the mix as well. But the big development this weekend, Garrett, Levi Clark back for the Volunteers in 2027. How big of a deal is that?
Yeah, really big deal. Obviously, didn't play his best in non-conference play, but down the stretch, hit really good in SEC play, batted almost 300 in SEC play. I think he led the team in RBIs during SEC play as well. So obviously once he got things figured out, things were moving in the right direction. Part of that sophomore class this year that you felt maybe underperformed a little bit, but obviously he'll be returning this next year. He's going to be one of your better hitters. Obviously, you got him. You got Grinlinger coming back. And so I think those are going to be two of your top bats that you return. And you're really excited about Levi because Levi is one of those guys that he didn't play completely to his ceiling this season due to his non-conference play. But when Clark's playing well, he's a really good hitter. And you saw that during his freshman year last year. He's one of the best hitters in the SEC as a freshman and had moments where he looked like he'd been in college baseball for 3-4 years, and obviously unlimited power, can knock the ball around the park. And a lot of people a little bit concerned about his swing this season, kind of had that loop in his swing, but I think that's something that he'll get figured out during the offseason. Obviously was dealing with some of the pop-ups that he had, and I think once he kind of figures out how to hit more line drives and stuff like that, he'll be able to get on base a lot more this season. So that's a massive position to get back, and you're really excited to get a guy back that's going to be coming back as a junior in that 2024 freshman class. So excited to see him back.
Well, Tennessee also landed their first transfer portal commitment over the weekend, and that is two-way player Braden Kersey out of Mercer. He committed to Josh Elander and staff and is the first guy in the boat for the Volunteers. He visited Rocky Top on Thursday and quickly decided to make his decision official. He's a two-way standout, if you will. Pitched and played in the infield as well for a Mercer team that was regarded as one of the biggest snubs in the NCAA tournament. Should have been in, did not make it. Very similar to Notre Dame, but whatever. He's a left-handed slugger. Slash 325, 438, and 684 this past season while hitting 21 homers. That's a lot more up Tennessee's alley. 11 doubles and driving in 67 runs last year. Kersey posted a 24.7 strikeout rate and a 14.7 walk rate during his sophomore year as well. He mostly served as a designated hitter last season, so you get him on the mound and also at the plate. You're seeing a lot more of these players in college baseball now, these two-way guys, and especially with the roster limitations that were implemented this past season, it's important to kind of double up here because you get a really good bat, 21 homers on the year, and you also get a guy that was on the mound at 495, a right-handed pitcher on the mound recording 6 saves in 20 innings during this past season, and he had a bigger role as a freshman where he had a 3-4 record but a 4.97 ERA and a 1.67 whip and 50 2/3 innings pitched. So he's got a lot of experience. Obviously, he's from Mercer, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be ready to go in Tennessee Orange, and you saw a little bit of that in the portal last year. Some guys that were highly regarded in their respective conferences before coming to Rocky Top. But again, you like the potential with a Kersey because let's say he doesn't work out as a pitcher. Well, he's still a really good bat and vice versa, right? So you can figure it out. These two-way players, I think, are very significant in college baseball now. As you've got these roster limitations, you have the opportunity to double up, and Josh Elander and company did just that. Brett, to you, do you like the addition of Kersey? And you know, as you're trying to fill out the rest of the roster through the portal, what do you make of this start?
Yeah, I mean, I think on Thursday or whenever it was Friday, maybe we were talking about him, and I was wondering how the fit would be with him because, you know, he was only a pitcher and a hitter with Grenlinger as your DH. But now that you hear he's played infield and things like that, he looks like he's VFL. You know, you've seen pictures floating with him as a young kid with Dobbs and some of his comments coming out when, you know, a lot of schools reached out to him, but when Tennessee offered, it was always Tennessee. And you love hearing that. I don't know if you watched some of the highlights, but I saw a little Blake Burke-esque and the way his batting stance, left-handed power bat, sign me up. And he seems like he's going to be one of those that plays hard. And I think he's going to help a lot as a left-handed power bat. And so I'm real excited after having this guy in the boat, no doubt about it. I think he's going to do big things for Tennessee.
Well, you know, I said earlier in the show I was in Atlanta this weekend. I'm at brunch, another broken egg on Saturday, and I get a text, Austin Knight going to be the new pitching coach. And I got clear to go public with her. Like, go public with her quick. So I called Josh. I was like, Josh, can I get a graphic? I go, Aiden, can I get an article? We got to get this thing out quick. And it didn't end up getting out as like it's just one of those things, it's a race against time, right? Everyone's trying to get something out. Russell Smith had went ahead and tweeted it out himself. So we both just kind of collabed on it. But just one of the one of the things in sports where even you could be at brunch enjoying an apple pie mimosa at another broken egg, and you got to just get things going. So Austin Knight, want to talk about him because that was the big announcement over the weekend in terms of the staff. Last week we talked about Josh Reynolds being let go, who was going to be that next guy. And Elander had said originally that they already kind of had it in the works. They already had an eye for what they were looking for, and Austin Knight proves to be that guy. The pitching coach for the Pirates over the last couple of seasons, was officially named that title heading into the 2022 season. And as Garrett was talking about at the top of the hour, this guy's established. He's done a really good job. Knight helped the Pirates capture 5 American Conference regular season titles, as well as 3 conference tournament championships since he has taken over in 2022. And during his 5 seasons as a pitching coach, ECU led the American Conference and finished ranked in the top 25 nationally in ERA 3 times. And the 2023 and 24 seasons were especially impressive because they were the top 25 leaders in ERA, whip, strikeouts per inning, strikeout to walk ratio, and hits allowed per 9 innings during both campaigns. And if all of this tells a story, it's that Austin Knight is a really good developer and has done so for multiple seasons at ECU. And Tennessee, unfortunately, got to see that in the opening round of the Chapel Hill Regional, where Tennessee fell to ECU in extra innings. I think it was a great hire. Maybe it was already kind of in the works after the game. They got shelled and said, we need that guy. But Caleb, to you, a couple of big developments out of the baseball program this weekend. Levi Clark returns, a new transfer commit, and also you got this guy, Austin Knight. What do you make of the weekend for Tennessee baseball?
Yeah, I saw when we got Austin Knight from ECU, I thought if you can't beat them, go take their pitching coach.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a position that we knew we needed. That was something that we knew we had to get better on from this season to next season. That was probably one of our biggest gripes of this baseball season was pitching. So did what we needed to do. We didn't wait 3 or 4 seasons like we did with our defensive coordinator in football, but that's water under the bridge. So we'll keep going with that. But I'm glad that Elander is willing to make a move like this after his first season in coaching. It kind of gives you a little confidence that he's running a good clubhouse over there. And as far as Levi Clark coming back, I thought that was kind of your last dangling piece that you needed to hear from out of this class. That was kind of your biggest guy left over that you were waiting to hear from. So glad to hear that he's coming back. I think we got a really good core to build around for next season. I think we got some really good starting pitcher roles that we have already filled, so we don't have to go spend as much in the portal. As we know, bullpen guys are much cheaper than starters, so it's nice that we have a good core to build around there. And at the plate too, we got a lot of our biggest bats coming back this year. So excited for what's to come for next year for Tennessee baseball, and then hopefully it gets us back to Omaha.
Yeah, it's still got a couple of guys you're waiting on too. Blaine Brown being one of them, probably the most significant remaining. You got about 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that you're still kind of waiting to hear back if you're going to the portal or going to return in 2027. So still have that to wait out. But Levi Clark getting back in the boat, big deal. Like the addition of the 2-way guy for Mercer, and Austin Knight, a really strong guy. Garrett, you were pretty excited about it. Anything else on Knight?
No, I mean, just a really good pitcher developer. Obviously, Trey Yesevich, I was just looking up his stats a second ago. His final year at ECU went 11-1 with a 2.03 ERA. Came in as a freshman at a 4.5 ERA, and now plays for the Toronto Blue Jays as a starting pitcher in the MLB. You see the development there. Ethan Normby was the guy that was pitched extra innings against us. One of the best pitchers in the American Conference, really one of the best pitchers in mid-major baseball as a whole, and it's just a really good hire. You see the development he's done. ECU is a very proud program. They care about baseball. This is a guy that knows what to do, and I thought they said Elander said that this guy was emotional. He brought emotion, so I think that's something that's big to your coaching staff. I know Elander's not the most emotional guy on earth, but if you can bring in some coaches that bring in the fire that you saw with Frank and Coach Q and Tony and the previous staffs, I think that can only help you for the next season. So I think it's a phenomenal hire. I would label it as an A+ get.
Well, there we go. Good stuff for Tennessee baseball. Josh Elander and company making the right moves. Buck says, so he tampered with ECU's coach? I don't think so. I mean, not to my knowledge of anything like that, no. But it is funny how some of those things work out. But Elander said he kind of had an idea of who he wanted to go after, and I guess he saw that that pitching performance.
This guy had to be on your radar before 2 weekends ago, though.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, you don't just say, "Oh, he locked us down. Let's go get him." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have been on your hot board.
Sure, most certainly. All right, when we come back, we'll pivot over to the hardwood. The NBA Finals tonight, Game 3, one of the most anticipated games in New York Knicks history. Tonight, inside Madison Square Garden, we'll tell you whether the Knicks take this to 3-0 or that the Spurs can hang on by a thread and at least get one game in the series. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life account, offering extra benefits, including bank travel. Experience the trip of a lifetime to Ireland. Explore rolling green hills, historic castles, and charming villages across the Emerald Isle. Get in on the fun. Call 865-429-7935 today.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
All right, final thoughts on a loaded Monday edition of the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us. A reminder, folks, the drive following us up here in just a moment, so stick around as they're sure to weigh in on the rest of the Brendan Sorsby topics that everyone is talking about across college football and really across the United States. A bombshell announcement, one of those that you'll remember where you were, at least in my case. I remember where I was for it. But we'll wrap it up with the NBA Finals tonight. Game 3 in New York. When we were previewing this series before it even got started, I did say Knicks in 6, and that's where we're headed.
Could be Knicks in 4.
It could be Knicks in 4. Brett, unfortunately, is out of opportunities for the Spurs to get it in 5. That was his original prediction, Spurs in 5. But I guess he could get 6 if they went 4 in a row. But the other thing I said pre-series was that Game 3 would be an automatic win for New York. And now this just so happens to be a win-or-go-home spot for San Antonio. And the way the last game went, it kind of felt a little bit to me, Brett, like the Cavs and Knicks game in round 1. Or excuse me, in the Eastern Conference Finals, in Game 1, I should say, where Cleveland was the better team for the better part of the game and folded in the final moments. Now, I didn't necessarily think New York was the lesser team because New York had a lead for a majority of it, but the Spurs came back and they had the opportunity to take it from them. And you have that costly turnover, whether you blame Victor Wembanyama or Stephon Castle, it's up to you.
Wemby.
But that kind of felt like the moment the air was taken out of the arena. And that final shot, it was a good look. It was a good look.
But why is he shooting?
Should go to the rim.
Go to the rim. Throw an oop.
I also thought it was a little bit delayed, too. It kind of felt like Fox waited a second too long to really get into the motion.
Man, it's just disappointing.
But Game 3 tonight, I take New York. I think this series is done. And it's
you're calling sweep then.
Damn near.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, damn near a sweep. I mean, it might go 6 games just so New York can win it on their home floor. But I don't say San Antonio's had their chances. I just think New York is the more experienced team. They know what to do in the crucial moments. And Game 2 was an example of that. Wembanyama, whether you believe it was Castle or Wembanyama who made the mistake, both those guys were frantic in that moment. And that's kind of a routine play. If I were Wemby, I would have held on to it.
Well, yeah, because Castle was looking at him like early on the play, and then Wemby looked like he wasn't going to give it to him, and then he decided to throw it.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So I take Knicks tonight. Brett, to you, how do you feel about this series currently, and do you echo the same thing? New York going to get it done?
I mean, at this point, they just seem like a team of destiny. They're just never going to lose again. It's been 43 days since their last loss. It's crazy. I got to give it up. I've never been a Cat fan, but the way he's taking on the challenge, I mean, he dunked on Wemby at one point and just yelled at him. Like, he says, "Come on, young kid, where you at?" And I've been impressed by him. I think they did better on Brunson. He's still shooting the ball poorly, but still makes plays. But yeah, I mean, this seems like it's just going to be insurmountable now that they're back in New York. President there, fans are going to be. New York was taking over San Antonio. I mean, what are they going to do tonight? You know, they're yelling at San Antonio while they're getting on the bus yesterday. I mean, it's just wild. I just can't imagine. Spurs are not. I mean, we thought they were young. They're gonna be eyes wide open tonight.
So you're saying after all that,
yeah, I think it's a
become
sweep.
a Cat fan.
It's. I mean, yeah. I mean, I got to give it up where it's due. He's been a monster.
Maybe someone caught on to that. I think Caleb did. After all that, you got on to that, Carrot. Yeah. Brett, after all, I'm talking about.
After all that.
Yeah, all those zesty ass quotes from Cat.
Yeah.
But man, he's had a good series.
He's the MVP right now.
He's and the crazy thing about Cat is he went from being the kind of all over the place, high ceiling guy, but would be all over the place, kind of have those, zesty moment. That's what he was defined by.
I just thought he's going to be soft and live on the perimeter.
That's what he was.
And shoot threes, and he's attacking.
Yeah.
And that's Wemby's not dealing with it. We got on Chet. We got to get on Wemby a little bit. I know he had 29, but
Chet whole grain,
yeah,
soluble fiber.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame if Brunson doesn't win the MVP though. I mean, he's the engine of that team. You think Cat deserves
Finals MVP? But I mean, like it's the same thing. Tatum was the player for the Celtics for the whole season. The NBA Finals came around. Jaylen Brown was the guy. I mean,
I feel like that
he's had a bigger challenge taking on Wemby than Brunson. Brunson's doing what Brunson does. But somebody else
give
had
some
to
credit to OG. I feel like defensively though. I mean, Anobi's played really good basketball too. I mean, he's upped his offensive stat lines and his defense. I mean, that's why he's one of the better defenders in the NBA.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
He had the dunk on Wemby too, where he knew if he went straight up with it, he was going to get blocked, and he went up for a dunk. And I've been pretty impressed with Anobi throughout the series too.
And we got 1 minute left. Garrett, Knicks or Spurs tonight?
Yeah, Knicks. I mean, if the Knicks get off to a hot start in the first quarter, it's over. It's going to be insurmountable with that crowd.
Caleb, Knicks or Spurs?
I'm going Knicks.
Let's get Josh and Connor too. Knicks for Connor. Josh, what does Josh got?
Knicks or Spurs, guys. We got Knicks.
All
Josh.
Knicks.
You got Knicks?
It's a Knicks parade. New York partying tonight.
Is it a graphic? Is that what it is?
That's a graphic right there. That's a 6 graphic, Brett. That's tough to do.
Get on. Yeah.
That's a full graphic.
You have your hands full this afternoon or after tonight.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff today. Big story. Brendan Sorsby. Always fun to talk some breaking news, a big developing story. We'll return tomorrow, continue to get you ready for Tennessee baseball in the 2027 season, eyeing down those transfer portal commits and who's returning, but also the recruiting trail for Josh Heupel and company continuing to heat up. I think tomorrow, too, I'm going to do my post-Sorsby top 25. Post-spring top 25, post-Sorsby top 25 now. Great show. We appreciate you listening along with us. Coming up next, it's The Drive on Fan Run Radio.
Can't get enough Fan Run Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go. Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day, right here on the flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready to show off that confident radio?